He had everything: power, money, recognition, the world at his feet. Richard Wallace, billionaire CEO of one of the world's most influential tech companies, was the man everyone either admired or envied. His face graced magazine covers, his name was whispered with awe in boardrooms, and his net worth kept climbing higher each year. But what the public didn't see was the hollow silence that echoed through his mansion every night. Richard lived in a world of board meetings, stock prices, and ruthless competition. His days were filled with signatures, handshakes, and deals worth billions. People looked at him and saw success. Yet, when the suits came off and the lights dimmed, Richard was just a man alone with memories he didn't want to face. He had sacrificed everything: family, friendships, love, in pursuit of his empire. One rainy evening, as he arrived home after another exhausting day, he noticed an envelope resting on the polished marble of his entryway. It was plain, unmarked, no official seal, no courier's note. Just his name written in neat handwriting across the front. He frowned. He hadn't received a handwritten letter in years. He tore it open carelessly at first, but the moment his eyes scanned the words, his world shifted. Dear Richard, if you are reading this, it means I finally found the courage to write what I could never say face to face. You once promised me that success would never change who you are. But I watched as power and wealth built walls between us. You no longer smile the way you used to. You no longer hear the people who truly care. I want you to remember who you were before the world crowned you. That man, kind, warm, and full of laughter, still exists. He's just buried beneath your empire. Please, don't lose him forever. Love, Anna. Richard froze. The name at the bottom hit him harder than any business rival ever could. Anna, the woman he had once planned to marry. The woman who had walked out of his life over a decade ago when his ambition consumed every moment of his time. He hadn't thought of her in years, or perhaps he had, but always pushed the thought aside. Suddenly, the empire around him felt fragile. The walls of his penthouse seemed colder. The titles, awards, and achievements that decorated his home looked meaningless. All he could see was the ghost of the man she described, the man he used to be. That night, Richard didn't sleep. He reread the letter 100 times, each word carving deeper into him. The following morning, instead of heading to the office, he drove to the small town where he grew up, a place he hadn't visited since he became too important for anyone there. Walking down the familiar streets, Richard realized how far he had drifted. The bakery where he and Anna used to share coffee. The playground where he had promised her he would always stay grounded. Memories came rushing back, each one heavy with regret. When he finally gathered the courage to look for her, he learned that Anna was working as a teacher at a local school. She hadn't built fortunes, hadn't chased global recognition. Instead, she had poured her life into shaping young minds, living with quiet dignity and purpose. The first moment they saw each other again was silent. No words, just eyes locked across time. He handed her the letter, his hands trembling. She smiled softly, almost sadly. I never thought you'd read it, she whispered. Their conversation stretched into hours. He admitted his regrets, the emptiness his billions could never fill, the loneliness that gnawed at him despite his empire. She listened with compassion but didn't let him escape the truth. You built everything, Richard, but you forgot yourself. In the weeks that followed, Richard began to change. He started spending less time chasing stock prices and more time reconnecting with people who mattered. He visited his parents' grave for the first time in years. He called old friends he had once left behind. Slowly, he chipped away at the walls his ambition had built. Anna never asked for his wealth or promises of grandeur. She only asked for sincerity. And that sincerity brought Richard something money had never given him: peace. Months later, at a conference filled with world leaders and investors, Richard stood at the podium. Instead of the usual speech about profits and innovation, he held up the letter. This, he said, his voice steady but emotional, is what changed me. A reminder that success without love, without humanity, without connection, is failure in disguise. Don't wait for a letter to remind you of who you are. Find it now. Live it now. The hall went silent. For once, Richard Wallace wasn't the billionaire CEO. He was a man stripped of pretense, speaking from the heart. That single letter shook him forever. And in doing so, it gave him something more valuable than billions: a second chance at being human.